Is this lighting okay? Is this fine? Do we need something else? Let's find out. Okay, hello. My name is Tori. I am a senior in high school. I'm gonna be covering if you go to a private school or if you have a very strict dress code, if you have to wear a uniform. I hope I can be of some assistance to you. If you dress alternative, how to express yourself in some way. Even though, like, you can dress the way you want to dress outside of school, for a lot of us, that's not possible. School is one of the only places you go, or it's like the place you go the most often. You spend like 40 hours a week in school for the most part. I know right now it's a little weird. And you're also around people that are like your peers, and so you want to look cool or fun, or you just want to dress the way you want to dress, or you want to experiment with different styles, and school can be a really easy way to do that, but it can be a lot harder when you have to wear a uniform or you have a very strict dress code. This video applies to like all alternative subcultures. I dress mainly punk. I'm gonna be focusing on mainly like punk fashion and a little bit of like scene fashion, scene influence, because that's what I generally wore. I'm in full-time dual enrollment now, so I don't really go to school. So I'm gonna start off with my school. I'm not gonna reveal where I went to school. I'm not gonna dox myself. No, I'm not gonna do that. So I'm gonna start off, my school colors were red, navy blue, light blue, and gray and white. We had to wear a uniform, but it was very lenient. It wasn't that crazy. Like, we could wear jeans, but it was still uniform. So anyway, since my school colors were basically the American flag, my school colors seemed to be pretty common. Just across the board, you can try and opt for wearing the darkest color. So I would wear a lot of navy blue, and I would wear a lot of dark wash jeans. I would also try to wear gray. If I was wearing any outerwear, we had to wear our school's outerwear inside if we wanted to wear like a coat inside or like a jacket inside. And I usually would go for like a gray one or I'm looking at one of them right now, or like just a navy blue one. I guess red. You could also do red. Like I said before, we were allowed to wear jeans or khakis. I mainly went for dark wash jeans, and that's way more casual than other schools, but we had to tuck in our shirts and wear a belt or else you'd get in trouble. There really wasn't like a restriction on types of belts. One moment. So this is my belt hook. So the belts I would normally wear were like, I normally just opted for this basic black belt. I'd seen other people wear this. I saw some people wear like rainbow versions of this. It had to be like a belt. It could be one of those fabric belts that had like a pattern on it, so you could go with that. It had to go through the belt loops and everything. You have so many options. Most of the belts I think of are like these pyramid studded ones that come in like so many different colors. You can get them off of like eBay. Hot Topic might still sell them, but I don't remember. Belts are a really nice way to just kind of show your personal style. You could attempt to loosely like layer belts, but I don't know how well that would go over. You could only wear like one, and it had to be just like a single unit. Wait, I think I remember seeing some people wearing chains on their belt loops. Wait, I used to do that. Wait, okay, one second. You could wear like a normal belt chain, wallet chain. You could wear a wallet chain. This is actually a chain that came with a purse that converted into like a thing that you could put on a belt that I used for a costume. So it's really long, but I would like do this with it, and I would put it in my belt loops like this, so it was layered. I didn't do that often just because it was kind of loud. Sometimes do that. Also, one thing about jeans that I should mention is that we weren't allowed to wear bleached jeans. Like, we could wear light wash jeans, but they couldn't be bleached, if that makes sense. We couldn't wear jeans that were frayed on the ends, but you could literally just cuff them and they could be a little shorter. That wasn't that big of an issue. You couldn't wear jeans with rips in them. You couldn't wear jeans with like appliques on them. Now, shoes and socks. Our shoe and sock dress code was really interesting. Apparently, we weren't allowed to wear socks that weren't the, like, school colors, but no one ever got in trouble for it. Like, also with shoes, like, you could wear any shoes as long as the heel wasn't taller than 2 inches, it had to be closed-toed, and it had to have some kind of back to them. So the shoes that I wore for the majority of 11th grade were these boys. These actually replaced some shoes that I got from a thrift store that were basically the same style, but they were just getting a little too worn out. And then I just relaced them. They're way too long, too. Look at that, wow. I never got in trouble for these. These were fine. They're very low profile. They're not like ridiculous. The heel isn't ridiculous. There was one girl that wore these Vans that were like the high top Vans. She would either wear neon green ones or neon pink ones, and those were like the loudest shoes I'd ever seen. So for socks, you could wear like fandom or band socks if you have those. I just normally wear plain socks because that's mostly what I have. And also I was wearing jeans, so it wasn't like I was wearing like some crazy wacky knee-high socks or anything like that. Oh, also, you could wear demonias if they weren't that tall. A lot of the time freshman year in 9th grade, I would wear these 1-inch platforms. They weren't demonia creepers, but they were very similar to demonia creepers. So you could absolutely wear those if you still had a height restriction, but like you could still go with that chunky feel. There's definitely plenty of demonia shoes out there that might still be like a boot. Yeah, there's definitely demonias out there that are like a boot style that aren't like 3-inch platforms. So yeah, shoes are very versatile. This is another pair that I've worn a lot since like 10th grade. Next we have backpacks. Backpacks were not regulated for me. I'm just trying to cover like as many bases as I can because I know how strict dress codes can get. I've been using the same one since 6th grade. Let me see if I can find it. I have had this bag since 6th grade. It's pretty great, pretty good. I love it. It's held up really well. It's currently full of old binders that I'm not using. I used to customize that bag to hell and back with pins. I used to put a bunch of fandom pins on there. Most of them were from Hot Topic or were given to me. I had a few enamel pins that I'd also use. There aren't any pins on it right now because I started working on my battle jacket and I wanted to put more pins on that. I took a lot of them off after 10th grade, and through 11th grade I had 3 pins on it. I had 2 pins by Audra Auclair and 1 pin that was square and it was black and it said support living artists on it. The thing about a lot of punk pins is that they're very aggressive and very they're very in your face, and they generally curse, and that's generally not welcome in high schools, especially private schools. You know what? If you really wanted to see how many people actually pay attention, you could try and put some of those pins on there. You can definitely put political pins on your bags. You just need to be a little more strategic about it. I guess the whole theme of this video is to just find ways to get around kind of weird, dumb, arbitrary rules. I have a lot of problems with uniforms. Why are we putting teenagers in uniforms during one of their most experimental and formative years of their life? Like, this is the time to be experimenting with clothes. Why are we telling you no? You can't experiment in one of the most social environments that we're forcing them to be in. It's messed up, in my opinion. Next category, accessories and jewelry. So something weird about my school is that people who were assigned female at birth could have as many ear piercings as they wanted. They could have lobe piercings, they could have cartilage piercings, but guys were not allowed to have piercings whatsoever. And I'm just like, okay, how are you gonna regulate if someone has a belly button piercing? I did see, I think, 1 or 2 people that got away with at least beginning to stretch their ears. Like, they did not have very big gauge sizes, but you could stretch your ears. I would advise against hollow plugs that you could like see through. I'd probably just go for like very low profile solid ones. I did see one girl, she would use one of those spiral like tapers. I saw a couple of people who would wear those like really ornate ear cuffs. So like they would have a piercing here, but then the cuff would cuff up here and there'd be like a chain with like something dangling. My ears aren't pierced, so I never really did anything like that. Facial piercings, you can hide with retainers, like especially a septum piercing. Septum piercings are probably one of the easiest facial piercings to hide. Like you just need one that you can either flip up or you can buy a septum retainer on a piercing website. I'm actually not sure of like any good brands, so please do your research on that. Necklaces and bracelets also weren't regulated. On days that I did feel like wearing jewelry, I did wear like candy bracelets. I have a lot of those just that I've made or that friends have given me. You could also wear those silicone band bracelets. I own like 2. I didn't really wear them again, I didn't really wear bracelets that often. Oh, chokers? I never saw anyone get any flack for wearing chokers. I don't know how big you could go with those, but you could probably wear chokers with some type of spike on them, some type of like ring, chains. So there's a lot of different options for jewelry. Jewelry is a really great option in addition to belts. So my last section is hair and makeup. My school's policy for hair was no one could have extreme hairstyles. And the thing about that is like that's really broad. So literally like I have both sides shaved. I'm growing out my undercut, but I've had both sides shaved. I've been bleaching my hair basically white since I was in 10th grade, and I've never had an issue with that. You could dye your hair any color as long as it was a natural color. So you could do black. I do basically platinum blonde / white. Yeah, you could definitely get away with having black hair, maybe even black streaks. I've had short hair my entire time in high school. When I started going to high school, I had pretty short brown hair with blonde highlights, and then in 10th grade, I went like really short in the back and on the sides and a little bit on the top, and I dyed it all white basically. But then during the summer, I dyed it one time green and one time pink. Be very careful with unnatural hair colors whatsoever. Oh, you could also do an undercut. That's cool. I've seen plenty of people do undercuts. So, okay, so on my notes, so I wrote down people that are assigned female at birth were allowed to do basically whatever they wanted with their hair within the confines of like what I just discussed. People that are assigned male at birth had to keep their hair either shorter than 3 inches or short enough that it didn't touch their collar. And it had to be trimmed around the ears as well, which is incredibly sexist. I don't understand. Because I knew plenty of guys who wanted to grow out their hair just a little longer, not even like super long, and even then that shouldn't be an issue, but they couldn't because of the dress code. I know there's very short alternative hairstyles that you could do. For makeup, it was pretty unregulated. I would occasionally see people wearing like green or black lipstick. There were girls who would do sometimes like a fun little eyeliner look, some fun eye makeup, some blue eyeshadow, you know, fun stuff. So makeup, like that's another place where you can get pretty creative. I mentioned this earlier with nail polish, but like nail polish and acrylics were fine. So that's just like general tips for if you want to dress alternative at a school that has a very strict dress code or a uniform. Again, this all might change, might be different for you depending on what your school's dress code is or what their uniform policy is. So I hope some of these tips did actually help someone out there.